everybody. Welcome to Bourbons and Bullshit. Big, the boss hog of numeral 11. Oh, wow. What's up, guys? Hi, welcome to StorSuite's version of StorChats. We are here today in my bar called the Boardroom, and this is my version of my podcast inside of StorSuite called Bourbons and Bullshit. And the reason it is, as you can see, all the bourbon, and it's in honor of one of my best friends who passed away recently, Pat Reinecke, that always said, "That's bullshit." So, as you know him, big personality.
Yep.
So, what we're going to do today is we're going to get to know Damon Emerson. We're going to sample some bourbons, and we're going to highlight one of the bourbons in my collection. So, let's start here. Who the hell are you?
I'm anything you want me to do.
Even better.
My name's Damon Emerson. I am currently co-founder and vice president of sales and client success for StorSuite. Have 18 years in the self-storage industry, starting with a REIT, created a marketing program for the industry, transitioning over to the tenant insurance world, where you and I met.
Yep.
And then that led me to becoming a partner with you on Storage Shield Tenant Protection. And then you guys made the genius decision to merge all of our companies together. And that's why I'm here today as the VP of Sales and Client Success.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
My goal in having you over the house today is to get to know who you are. Let's
God help us all.
That's for real. And let's sample some bourbons.
Love it.
Okay, so this is recently some of the things that I've collected, and we are going to highlight one of them. So the one we are going to highlight today is a guy out of Kentucky in Lexington and Louisville both. His name is Justin Sloan. He owns a company called Justin's House of Bourbon, and his private label is Blackwood. We are going to sample his Toasted 105 today. And Justin, thank you, brother. You're a good man, and this is a good bourbon too. So what we have here are two Glencairns, for those of you that don't know, that are etched with our logo and OpenText logo on them.
Awesome partnership.
So we are going to sample that together.
Sweet sound of heaven right there.
All right. So I'm going to give you a nice, good 1 ounce pour.
That's like my version of 1 ounce. I like it.
And give me a 1 ounce pour. So I'm going to slide down a little closer so that everybody can see what it is. This bottle retails for $99.99. And I know you can get it in Kentucky and a couple different places around Texas. So
nice.
On the nose, smell a little floral, a little spice.
Vanilla, maybe?
A little bit of vanilla, right? Maybe some caramel.
Oh, definitely caramel. I just smelled that.
Yep. So on a toasted barrel, what they do is they toast the inside of the barrel before they put the liquid in it. That's good. I always say the second sip is the best. Now you taste that vanilla.
Yeah, you do. It jumps out at you.
Now you taste the caramel. Taste that spice on the back end. It's kind of almost like apple spice or something.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's good. It's very good.
So, Justin, good job, buddy. You
really like it.
You and Guinness did a really good job in making this bottle. I can't thank you enough. So let's get into you. What gets you up every day? What makes you tick? What drives you?
What gets me up? Well, outside of my phone and my daughter,
Olivia, yes.
Everybody who knows me will understand this completely. I get up and my driving force is first and foremost my family. Obviously, I want to have success, to be a leader of the family, but also, to give them, like I strive to build so my wife never has to worry, that Olivia will never have to worry about things in the future, but at the same time understand how she has what she has. You know what I mean? And that it's kind of it's a tiered answer, because that is what brings me to waking up to create and be an entrepreneur and build what we're doing now with StorSuite, right? Because for me, you can't be the leader, and I can't do things and build for my family unless they see why I'm doing what I do. And it's just something that for me, 15, 20 years ago, I kind of had a reckoning in my life where I realized the man that I want to be. And then at that point, just the path that I want to take. And that's because of my wife and now becoming a dad 5 years ago. And it just becomes that much more important to understand the people you have in your life, whether it's your partners or your friends or your family, and how they all connect together. But that's really why. That's what gets me up. It's because I get to do what I love, and I get to do it for the people that I love.
So it's interesting because, inside of our company, we're a people first type of company, right? So to hear you say that, what gets you up every day is family really, really resonates with me. There's a lot of conversation in the industry right now that revolves around ethical behavior, credibility, things like that. So for you, Damon Emerson, as a person, why is that important to you?
So I have always, just going back to being a kid, there was always a way I wanted to live. There was always a way I wanted to be. And I was always a little different than my family because of certain steps that I would take or how.
So for the record, you're a little different than most people, but go ahead.
But I knew at an early age that there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And I always wanted to kind of achieve certain things. And the older I got and the more I started kind of pinpointing what these feelings and thoughts were, by the time I got into the self-storage industry, looking back, kind of taking a step back, not understanding the industry 18 years ago and what I wanted to achieve, I just felt this need that you have to, I preach transparency and I treat ethics, and I preach ethics not because I think somehow we're better or this or that, or it's like there's an arrogance to it. I learned a long time ago that the best way you can be is you. And for me, I value ethics just from the standpoint of, if you have people who look up to you, if, you want to take care of others, if there's these positives that you want to do within your world and your realm, do it ethically, do it transparently, and make sure that, if you're saying things and you're making promises, that they're being conducted in the way that it should be conducted. And I know I take stances and I sit on my soapbox and I preach. I get it. Like soapbox. Everybody, we joke.
Yeah, but I see that from you as a form of passion.
It is, because I think, ethics get thrown around a lot. And it bothers me, because if I tell you what's going to happen and we're doing things the right way and we're trying to uphold this standard and be leaders, you can't do that if the people around you, if your family, if your friends look at you and go, well, he's just using words. What does it matter? He doesn't stand for what, believe what he stands for.
So my stepfather used to say words have meaning, right?
Yes.
And that was in one context, because they do. And we put the meaning to them. And some people put the meaning behind ethics or put the meaning behind credibility. But in a different context, he used to always say actions speak louder than words. So if words do have meaning, shouldn't your actions back that up as well?
100%.
Yeah. So I say a little differently than you is I wake up every day to try to be a good person, right? So because I wake up every day to try to be a good person, I try to mirror what I'm saying with what I'm doing.
Yes.
So.
Well, just to add, so a lot of people don't know my upbringing, and this obviously isn't the time for that. But I grew up in a very old school life with an old school dad who was born in the 30s, and his upbringing was rough, right? And I just watched a way of life that I never appreciated or believed in. And when I became an adult, I realized, what? This is who I am. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to do things the way that it should be done.
But I do recognize something in there this is called Bourbon and Bullshit, right?
Oh,
I do recognize something in there that is bullshit, though.
What is that?
And that is that you're an adult. That's a lie.
Oh,
and that's total bullshit because I've known you for 15 years, and I know that you're as big of a child as I am.
Amen to that, man.
So, as this episode goes, like every other episode, that's where I'm calling bullshit because I know you like to have fun. I know you like to goof off.
Yes.
There's one thing I will say about you that is absolutely impressive, and that is every day you have a smile on your face. Every day you get up with that skip in your step. Mm-hmm. You said it's for your family, but bluntly, it's who you are. It's truly who you are.
No, I appreciate that.
So, all right. So you've worked for large companies. You worked for small companies. How does that compare to what you're doing now? Like you're doing something, I think, a little bit differently than what you have in the past.
Yeah.
But you've had some experience with larger companies and smaller companies, all of that. Give me some insight on what's different, what's the same.
So let's go back to when you and I met, right? I had started with CubeSmart.
Worst day of my life. But go ahead.
I'll always
thank you, Greg Solkovich. That's right. All I got to say about that.
We love you, Greg.
We do.
I'll always give Guy Middlebrooks immense credit because I don't have my career today or the opportunity without Guy Middlebrooks.
Great dude.
Coming into an office and just saying, Damon, you've got a go-getter attitude. Like, you don't take no for anything. Like, we have this opportunity and we want to bring it to you. And he gave me the chance to become what I am in storage, right? It's just who I am. It's not like I changed anything, but it allowed me to be me.
Yep.
And, you look at how it was in CubeSmart and it was great. And I was a number and it was a corporate, and corporate life is great. And you can learn. And for me, I realized you can't really have an entrepreneurial mind or do things a certain way within the corporate life. And that's not a negative.
No. That's the exact reason I got fired from my last two jobs is because you have to live within the railings that they put in place, right? And that's fair because you have to have a corporate type of structure like that in order to have controls.
A great story on that side is we used to do birthdays every month, and you would announce them out onto the email world, and everyone would celebrate, say happy birthday. And I, just being someone who does believe that a lot of the times I am the funniest person to myself, I decided on one of those on an email back to the entire company. It was, hey, we got cake in the boardroom. Make sure you have it. I write out on an email, no cake. And the CEO goes, Damon, if it's okay with you, we'd rather have you not email across the company wires, please. And I went, yeah, I deserve that.
Okay, I guess I'm going to shut up then.
Yeah. Yep. But you take that, and it allowed me my opportunity. So I learned kind of the corporate structure, and I was able to learn storage. And I learned it from the highest possible peak I can and how the industry, conducts
from
itself.
A publicly traded company.
Exactly. And that fast forward over to becoming someone who helped build what StorSmart Tenant Insurance became before Storable bought it. And it, at that point, Mike Rhodes, president of the company and a great friend and who was a mentor, who really still is a mentor, allowed me. And at one point, it was the first time anybody in storage has said it. He goes, Damon, I brought you in as a company to be you. I just want you to be you. That's what we're paying for. He goes, so you do what you need to do. And he taught me lessons about me in opening up, to be who I am, right? So fast forward during this time, you and I would have all these conversations because from the day one, people we've talked about it, but I don't know how much they know. John and I clicked from the very first moment we ever met.
Actually, what happened was we were in
Emerald
Steakhouse in Vegas and almost got thrown out. But they actually told us to stop being so loud or they were going to have to ask us to leave.
I've never been told I'm loud ever.
I've never been told the same thing. Add a little bit of bourbon to that, and then that's why they get you thrown out.
Oh, yes.
So anyway, and again, thank you, Greg Solkovich.
Thank you, Greg Solkovich.
Because Greg was with us.
But that led, you and I would have conversations, and, I never asked for some of the advice that I should have with you, but you always gave it, right? And it was...
I have never been opinionated.
Ever. But fast forward when I was with, StorSmart, we got bought by Storable, and it was a good journey. I then took a 6-month hiatus that I just choose never to talk about the company who I went to for 6 months. And then you and I talked, and you wanted to pay me back on a favor that I never really knew I did, right? And I became a partner in Storage Shield. And, I will never forget, you kind of gave me my lumps during that time because you're like, you should have talked to me with certain decisions because I've lived it, right? And then over the last almost 4 years now, you've kind of helped me become the leader I am, which is why
So what's different about how you lead now versus how you led at those other companies?
I always used to take the approach that, what, my job is to just put your head down, move forward, and I will get things done because I'm good talking to people. And maybe I lead, maybe I don't know. And then that advanced to, well, now I have a place in the industry. So I obviously am a leader, but I never understood how or what steps, or more importantly, how every action that you take or you have affects so many. And, when I started with Storage Shield, I initially was excited. It was a great opportunity. I felt I had arrived, right? When in reality, I already did arrive. I was given an opportunity that other people saw that I didn't realize. So I felt a little fraudulent, right? And you and Christina and I would have these conversations, Christina Alvino, props, but we would have conversations and it was helping me understand, well, no, I'm not a fraud. Like I'm here today because I have done certain things and I have led and learned, but there was more that I had to learn. And what I have learned is it's just not how you conduct yourself or how you treat people, but you make yourself accountable. And when you make yourself accountable, you can then hold others accountable and understand every facet of what you're doing in your business. Because if you want to be the face or if you want to be a key cog in a company, then you have responsibilities to everybody that is going to get something out of that company. And it's not just about you. It's about everybody else in that company that you're going to take care of in the long run. And
it's interesting because in large companies, you kind of feel part of a team, but you kind of feel part of a really big thing, right? And in smaller companies, like you get to do all the tasks. You get to do, the person that you're leading is yourself, right?
Yeah.
In this environment, you get to lead others. And, bluntly, I got to give you a really good credit of your maturity in a leadership role that you've grown to lead people and influence people in a way internally to StorSuite that gives them their balance. One of the things that I've recognized you about in the past is you're always positive. That's the good news. But it's sometimes you got to have that balance of a leader to push people, right? Yeah. And one of the things I've noticed about your maturity over the last couple of years is your ability to cheer them on and push them at the same time. Yes. And truly, that's what leadership's about. It's about giving people their balance. All right, what's the biggest line of bullshit you've ever heard about business?
Oh man, there is so much. I would say one of the biggest ones is, just because you're good at business doesn't make you a good leader. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I've been, how I can give in situations where, we have people who have amazing experience and are good leaders because it's about the questions you ask. It's about, if you've been good in business, there's a leadership piece that people have listened and followed, right? So you obviously know something. Like, you don't have career-long salesmen that just don't do anything, right? If you're given the chance and you're smart enough to ask the right questions and trust your surroundings, you're going to be a good leader. If anything, I'm proof of that.
So how you define leadership a lot of time is through communication, influence, using your resources, motivating people. All of those things are good leadership traits. Just because you know how to do a certain task or certain concepts or what have you doesn't mean that you can lead those people. So an old Chinese proverb is, if you're leading and no one is following, you're only taking a walk.
God, I feel like someone has told me that. Who has told me that?
I'm going to call bullshit on this. And that is what I've heard for many, many years is how you need a college degree to be successful. Here's my last question, okay? You ready?
Yes.
All right. Give the audience your best business tip.
Just one?
Just one.
My best business tip is to understand if you want to if you want to be an entrepreneur and you have that in you, is don't let what you perceive to be defeat or frustration or fear get in the way of having your success. Because if you want to be an entrepreneur and you feel you are, then understand the people you have around you and know that it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to be humble, and it's okay to be emotional, right? What do you always say when we first started? You said, Damon, in board meetings, you have to be willing to be what?
Vulnerable.
And that's it. And if you're going to have success, understand there's vulnerability that comes with it, and it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you anything. It makes you strong.
It actually makes you stronger than it does.
Yes. And I would say that's to have success. And I'm so very, very proud of that as I've grown, is because I know that I can come into a room and I can say, guys, I'm worried, I'm fearful, I'm excited, I'm happy, but I need help. Yep. And I know that I'm not being judged, that the group as we have is always, I mean, you guys will jump headfirst in and be like, oh, this is great. What can we do? And that's what people don't realize. That's what I would tell you. You have to be that way. That's
also the difference between being in a large corporate company and being in an environment like this, is you can be vulnerable and you're not getting judged.
I agree.
The goal is to continually get better, where you're not feeling like you're on an island to get better. Yeah. We all help you get better.
Exactly.
So, good stuff. All right, I'm gonna wrap this whole thing up. Bourbon and bullshit, right? Bunch of that he said was all lies. Which is bullshit.
But I got free bourbon. And
that's right. So I want to highlight this again. Blackwood, Lexington, Kentucky. It's called Toasted 105. It's 105 proof. As we said, there's vanilla notes, there's caramel notes, there's some spices. On the nose, there's a little bit of floral.
Gets good with every drink. It gets better.
It does, don't it?
It does.
So what I did while we were going is I made a couple old fashions, and how I made them is with Bar Smith Old Timers Old Fashioned Mix. I've got chocolate bitters. I've got orange bitters.
Fancy.
I got Luxardo cherries.
The only cherries to do an old fashioned with.
Do not use, look, I have these here for other drinks. Do not use these in your old fashioned.
These are for the friends that you don't like coming over.
These are for Shirley Temples is what they're for. They are not for old fashions. All right. And then a little bit of cherry juice. So we are, after we're gone, we are going to sip on these without you guys. So lastly, to my buddy Pat, that's where the bullshit comes from.
Amen.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Come join the fun.